Well, we're back for another episode of Bucket List Living with Brad Norwood. I'm your host, Brad Norwood, and today is an awesome day on Bucket List Living. In fact, we're celebrating our guest today. We don't have a number now. I'm not going to share any numbers with you. But ladies and gentlemen, Jeff, if you will, put on your party hat because we have a birthday party on Bucket List Living with Brad Norwood today. Jeff Underwood,
All
welcome to
right.
the show and happy birthday, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brad. And, I can't begin to describe how special it was. We have one of those mailboxes that you got to get in with the key in our neighborhood. And late last night, I go out to the mailbox and I see this package sitting here. And I'm like, who the heck is this from? And lo and behold, I pull out, paper plates and napkins and all the cone hats and party favors for a birthday with a special note in there from you. And I can't tell you how much that means. And I appreciate it because we barely know each other. But it was awesome to be able to talk to my family about like, who is sending you this stuff and just the power of connection, LinkedIn. So it was a really cool moment with me and my family and be able to share that with my kids of just the power of connecting with people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, a couple of weeks ago when you accepted the invite, I was just thrilled when you said, well, it's my birthday. And I thought, my goodness, he's giving me his time and it's on his birthday. I got to do something for this guy. And so immediately the light came on. I said, you know what? I'm just going to send some party favors, some plates. We tried, Jeff. We tried to get you a cake ordered and delivered, but we couldn't guarantee the delivery today. And it was turning into a mess. So we just kind of smoothed it over with what it is. I do have a plate here with a little protein bar because I'm on a little bit of a diet. But if you've got some cookies or something, hey, and if you're listening, grab a cookie, a piece of cake. Let's celebrate Jeff today, right?
Sure. Appreciate it, Brad.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So, Jeff, you are the regional sales director for Clearent. And quite frankly, how I found you through LinkedIn was because you're a leader and that you appreciate your people. And I had noticed that for like 3 or 4 posts in a row, it was all about your team, all about your people, totally selfless in what you do. And so I want you to talk about that because that's what grabbed my attention, right? You're just like me. You're a people person, it seems. And so talk about your role in leadership and tell us about Clearent as well.
Sure. Appreciate the question and appreciate you noticing, right? I think in leadership, one of the foundations, right, is the people you get the pleasure to work with every day. And it's very easy to focus on the KPIs, the metrics, and all the things that make the business run. But without people, there is no business. And so I think that is that's the foundation of any business, I believe. And it's amazing what happens when you are able to just connect with people. You have a mission together. And so you go through the ups and downs together. But I think it's really important to just show that appreciation for the people you get to work with every day, right?
Right.
Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't get to do what I get to do every single day. So that is to me paramount, and it's number one. I don't care what position title looks like. I'm a big believer in it's not title, it's permission leadership, right? And if you don't earn that permission from the people you get to work with every day, it's a tough go. So, I would say that's first and foremost where my heart's at. And, Clearent is a payment technology company. So we help businesses from small to enterprise of how they collect payment every day. And through that technology and service, it's really about the people. We're in the relationship business, and you can understand what a business wants and needs. How do we get there? Earn their trust and continue it by giving them a very viable product in a landscape that's got many out there. I look at it every single day. It's the people that make the engine run. Without them, the company's it's just a company.
Sure.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not only your people, right, Jeff? It's the people on the other end. I mean, let's be honest, right? Anybody listening just heard, oh my God, another credit card processor, another payment processor. Are you kidding me? right? Like you're going to charge me all these fees. You tell me you're not, and then we do, and there's all these hidden
Sure.
fees. So talk about the people on the other side, the people that you're selling to. How important are they in that process?
They're paramount, right? Without them, if we're not serving them and really taking care of them, I mean, we don't have a business, right? So it's so important to have them. Uh, but at the same time, I also look at it, it's an industry that hasn't done itself a whole lot of favors. And so that can be a little bit disturbing at first, making that first contact. So it's really just a lot of cases over time, but it's important for us to hear their story. What is it that they've gone through? What can we do differently to make their lives better? Because sometimes it's not always just about the physical cost, right? We know time is the number one thing, I would say, for a company that is spendy. And if I can help assist a business or a company to reduce the time it takes to facilitate, to gather payment, and really be a trusted advisor, it's a win-win for our end user and us, right? So it's super important that they're involved. It's not just a service and say transactional and say see you later. It is
Right.
truly a evolving relationship.
Yeah, and so talk about that model, Jeff, on the front end of things. When your team goes out that you're over, how long does what's that process look like from cold calling, walking in the door to close of the sale, and then really solidifying the relationship, right? Because now we're partners once they're a
Sure.
customer, right? Talk about that process.
Yeah. It's a great question, Brad. You know, it's one of those things where it kind of moves around, right? So there are times where you might meet a business owner, something's going wrong. There's chaos in their life, and they just need anybody to come and put a band-aid on it and fix it. So sometimes it's very, very, hey, it's one call. We're now in a relationship. We're taking care of you. But the one thing that I really embrace is those business owners where whether it was the first time I approached them, there's some hesitancy there, right? And it might take 6 to 8 times for me to go and make a contact with that potential business owner, um, and earn that trust. I'm not just here today and gone tomorrow. I really want to serve you in my local community. And how can I do that? And so it's interesting going back from day one in this world of credit card processing, completely different from what I've ever done in the past. Uh, those business owners, those customers that now I call friends, the ones that were the hardest to actually develop this relationship and actually work together, right? Partner together. Still to this day, I call them friends.
Yeah,
When we have a phone conversation, it's less about the business side. How are you and the family doing? And that's for me, I get a lot of joy out of that because my customers they're not just customers. We become a family, right? And it just, it really knows that what you're doing is important, right? It's not just transactional.
sure. Yeah, it starts to become what we talk about in the bucket list life plan, part of your purpose, right?
Sure.
We're not out there just to put machines in stores. We're out there to put our heart into stores. And by the way, you get to use this machine as a connection.
Correct. Agree.
Yeah. So I love that. And again, Jeff, as much as you have posted on LinkedIn and so on about your team and some of your customers, talk about too the how important it is to recognize and reward those people and what Clearent does to do so.
Yeah. I think it's really important, right? One, the recognition. Not everyone is motivated by money. Some are, and that might be a byproduct of what someone does every single day. And I believe in the recognition of people that are going out and doing it every day. And Clearent recognizes that too, right? So whether it's incentive trips, extra things for you going above and beyond, maybe the call of duty or say quota per se, right? Um, I think that's the thing that keeps the engine running, right? If it's just a prize or something that's monetary at the end, yeah, it feels good in the moment, but it can lose some steam. But
Sure.
I think at the heart of it, the relationship, it we're continually working on each other. I'm a big proponent of iron sharpens iron, right? And I don't think if it's everything sunshines and rainbows, we don't really grow. And so through that process of appreciation and really digging in and finding out what's going on, what is your goal or your mission in life? Clearent may be a vehicle to help you get there, but the stuff that's tangible that I think that we can hold on to is the relationships that we build. And that comes by being ever present into someone's life, right? You just don't report to me and we go over numbers. It's how are you doing? What's going on with you? And that's to me what gets me excited and jumping out of the bed every single day, even for my birthday. And I'll just share this real quick, Brad. Normally on my birthday, the only thing I want to do is play golf. The golf course is my sanctuary. It is the place where I can reflect and go and challenge myself. And I love it. If I could do that 24/7, I would. But it's interesting this year alone, the connections that I've been able to, I feel like I've been blessed to have with the people I get to work with every day. I woke up this morning excited for the workday. How can I help someone get across that goal line, their forecast or whatever? We've got 4 days left in the month, right? 5 days, 4 days, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
how can I help someone achieve that goal? And today was the first time in a long time that I woke up not wanting to go to the golf course, but hey, let's go get it. Let's go change some people's lives, not only for the people I get to work with every day, but also the business owners out there. So,
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. My good friend Jesse Cole and Jason Ricks and their podcast I was listening to last week, Jesse talked about getting energy. And to get that energy, you got to do things that give you the energy, right? And so that's exactly right. Pushing that team across the goal line the last 4 days of the month, closing out the first month of the quarter, right? Put
yeah.
them over. Sometimes, even as bad as I hate to say it, a little bit more important than golf, isn't it?
True, true. And it's, and think about the year that we just came off of 2020, right? We just went through a period of time that none of us have ever had to deal with before, right? We're used to having human connection and being able to, you know, go have a soda together, a coffee together, give someone a hug. In our industry, there's been a lot of struggling businesses out there, right? So it's I don't know, it's just this crazy thing. Like there's hope here. Let's go out and do what we can for the business community. So anyways,
Yeah,
it's just interesting how we've gone through this phase of 2020 and now here we are 2021.
sure. Yeah,
So
time doesn't stop, right? Time
that's
doesn't
correct.
stop. So, Jeff, talk about to your. I know you're the regional sales director. How big is your coverage area? I know if I'm familiar, I think you've got some people in throughout Oklahoma. I'm sure the company covers the United States, but talk about your region. How many people you're actually overseeing?
Yeah. Great question, Brad. So, man, this camera, I don't know why it wants to keep turning off, but here we go. We're back. So my direct reports of what I'm responsible for is really on the West Coast. So I have Southern California, Northern California, a little bit into Nevada and up into the Portland, the Pacific Northwest. You mentioned Oklahoma. It's very interesting. Early in 2020, right? Our business had to pivot a little bit. What can we do differently to still grow as a company and serve more business owners? So I indirectly support about another 15 or so folks throughout the country in the Northeast, the Southeast, the Midwest. And so we've just taken a unique approach to, I don't want to say I'm a product expert in the business to business to government space, but we've collectively have come together. We'll meet a couple times a week. And it's really kept this engine going where we've learned a new avenue to support business owners that we traditionally didn't support. And so there's my direct reports and indirect. And so when you think about it, it's almost 30 folks. And man, it's been challenging, but also rewarding because I have been able to get involved with people that I wouldn't normally get to be involved with on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And have you been able to travel during the lockdown to be able to reach out, or are all these connections being done virtually?
I would say 98% of them are done virtually. Um, a lot of the folks I've never met face to face. It's
Yeah.
been through phone call or a video call. And I think the one thing that's made the impact there, Brad, is picking up the phone, right? Having a phone conversation or a video conference, right? I mean, you think you might know somebody, but really taking the time, and each one of those people, I've been able to take the time to really get to know them, which has been, it's been different and the same. We're just, it's long distance, right?
Yeah.
So the day I get to meet some of these folks face to face, it's like we've known each other forever. And I can't wait to celebrate that.
Yeah. What's that going to look like to you? What do you think that looks like when people can start getting back together? I know you mentioned incentive trips earlier. I can only assume that those have been postponed. I know I'm over several of those through our company DreamIT, and 2020 was just basically a wash, right? But what does that
Sure.
look like to you when people start to come back together? Maybe 2021, but looks like 2022. What's that look like for you?
It just looks like a celebration, right? Like
Yeah,
I can give this person a hug, right? I can look them in the face and say, man, you have no idea the impact you've made on my life, right? Just by those conversations. Um, and there's some vulnerability there, right? So I think celebration, but I can't wait for it to happen. I love to give someone a big old hug, right? I mean, that's just my nature. Um, and it's almost like now I'm complete. I've been able to meet you face to face, your family from afar, but now we're really, really connected because we've just been able to embrace and see each other for the first time face to
sure.
face.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think there's some
Yeah.
light at the end of the tunnel. We hope
Yeah.
we're starting to see some things. Companies maybe wanting to do something September, October. Our fingers are crossed, and we're
Yeah.
hopeful for that for sure.
Agreed.
So, Jeff, let's talk about Jeff Underwood. Give us your backstory. Where do you come from? How did you find yourself at Clearent? Give us your story.
Yeah. We don't have all day, so I'll make this a little quick. But born and raised here in the state of California, Northern California. So you know, grew up, father worked in the retail sector of the business. So I really got to learn the value of hard work, right? Of really the people business, but also just X's and O's of a business. So I feel blessed that I was able to be a part of that growing up. So that foundation really laid everything out for me. And then, so went from retail to sales. And then lo and behold, after a couple stints in mortgage loans, bubbles about to burst, got into law enforcement, um, went through some injuries there. So unfortunately, my law enforcement career was cut short. Uh, and I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something. So I think all of those things have built me up to where I am today from life experience that a lot of people may not be able to feel, experience, and see. And I went through some periods of being very jaded and maybe not the people person. And so I'm very thankful for my time in that law enforcement career. It opened my eyes up to what the world is, but it also opened my eyes to people, what's important, right? And I think
Mm,
relationships matter. And the world of credit card processing fell in my lap. I was searching for something to do. Never had a LinkedIn presence. And the prior company before I came to Clearent, I connected with a guy like you and I did, Brad, and I want you to come work for me. And the rest is history. So nothing I sought out, it just landed in my lap. And it's pretty ironic the way things have worked out that way, but I'm so thankful for it.
I love that, and I love how you touch on your father and being in retail and that part of the legacy that I can tell is ingrained in you. And then now that you're starting to carry the torch for, talk about the legacy that you hope to leave at Clarent and anything in the future going forward, even with your family.
Wow, great question. I guess that would be leave no stone unturned, right?
Mm,
Treat people right. If you treat people right and you do the right thing, I truly believe in the power of the universe. Things are going to come back to you, right? I want my legacy to be that I touch people in a way that gave them hope. There's more out there to life than just the Monday, day to day things that we do, right? So for Clarent, my goal is, my legacy would be to help transform and touch a piece of the business from a culture that we become champions of people, right? We've got this culture piece where there's a home that you're cared about, that's going to help assist you get to where you want to go. And for my family, I think it's one that I would hope to leave of love on people. You never know what someone's going through that day, right? It's okay to have emotional reaction, right? But don't make an emotional decision. And I hope that I can show them that it's okay to be emotional sometimes and have a reaction, but be slow to make a decision based on your emotions. And so I guess there's a part of that, and I don't know where that came from. It just came out of my mouth, but I think that is something to reflect back on, right? Hey, I've learned this from my dad. My family learned this from me, and love on people. Let's have fun. Life's too short to be negative, and just embrace it, right? And embrace the challenges, because challenges is what make us grow. If everything was easy, life would be boring.
Right. Yeah. And it's too short to be average. Right.
That's
I
right.
love, and Jeff, I love that you love on people so much, and you talk about challenges. Before we wrap up our time here, I want to ask you personally, what are you challenging yourself with? We talk about that in the talk that we give called ICE, where we're being intentional, we challenge ourselves and we envision that experience. What are you challenging yourself with in this new year for you?
Sure. It's a great question. I think for me, the biggest thing I challenge myself on is check myself, right? Every day I'm challenging myself to reflect on the day before. What can I do today differently than I did yesterday? Or what can I improve on that I did really, really well yesterday? Right. And I think it just becomes I'm focusing on reflecting on my decisions, my reactions, and really getting in tune with improving myself to help improve others. So I think the biggest thing is self-reflection. We're so busy and going through the motions, sometimes not stop and look at ourselves in the mirror. If I could look myself in the mirror every day and say, okay, maybe I messed up in this area. What can I do today to improve that? And so that's where, for me, 2021 is a year of self development, self growth, but just be really true to who I am and how can I improve. And in the areas I've improved on, be okay with patting myself on the back, because that's something I struggle with. I'm not big on self, you know, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but saying I did a good job there, I have this desire to want to be perfect, or how can I get better? But be okay with celebrating, hey, you did good there.
Yeah.
Now, what's one thing I can do to improve it? So I'd say self-reflection, and a long-winded answer there is one thing I'm doing this year.
I love that. I love that. And don't ever be afraid to pat yourself on the back, my friend. You pat too many other people on the back not to pat yourself on the back as well. I know your team speaks highly of you just from the engagement again that we see on LinkedIn. They love being part of your team and they love what you do for them. So for those that are listening and watching and want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to connect with Jeff Underwood?
Best way to connect. So you can connect on LinkedIn. You can also shoot me an email at engagementmatters5@gmail.com. There's going to be some more to come around engagement matters. Working on a podcast currently, as I mentioned to you, Brad. But I think those are the two best ways to get a hold of me. LinkedIn and engagement matters, the number 5 @gmail.com would be a great way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. He's a great guy to reach out to, great content, great guy to follow. And Jeff, quite frankly, I'm excited to get to know you even better. Loved our conversation today. I want to respect your time. You've got a birthday to go celebrate, my friend. And on the West Coast, you've still got time to go get in 9. Is it warm enough to go play?
You know what? It's interesting. It was 29 degrees when I woke up this morning.
Oh,
And so a little chilly. We got a little rain in the forecast this afternoon, up around the high 30s, low 40s. I wish I had time to go get in a 9, but after this, I got some more work to do, and that's okay. I'll celebrate with the family tonight.
I love it. Well, Jeff, thanks again for your time. I appreciate it. Again, if you want to reach out to Jeff, LinkedIn is the way to follow him, Jeff Underwood, or his email, engagement5@gmail.com. We'll put all those in the show notes. And as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to subscribe to our channel and catch the greatest and latest episodes of Bucket List Living with Brad Norwood. Until next time, remember, the bucket list life is a life worth living.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad.